Blueface, the Los Angeles rapper whose real name is Jonathan Porter, has once again managed to dominate headlines, not because of a flashy new single, a viral music video, or a record-breaking performance, but because he is continuing to build his narrative from behind the cold, hard walls of Los Angeles County Jail, where he is currently serving a 4-year sentence. And while some might dismiss this as yet another example of celebrity downfall, the truth is far more layered, far more brutal, and far more telling about not just the individual choices that brought him here, but about the system, the culture, the fan obsession, and the blurred line between music industry success and the consequences of personal actions. Because when Blueface posted his most recent photo directly from the prison yard, dressed in state-issued attire with his tattoos on display and a noticeably stronger, bulked-up physique that screamed survival, strength, and resilience, the caption that came with it, "This is not a 50-50 yard," wasn't just a casual statement. It was a coded declaration, a message to both fans and critics that his environment is unforgiving, not soft, not easy, and certainly not one where reputation can be faked. And immediately, his supporters rushed to flood the comments section with words of loyalty, admiration, encouragement, and even hype for his eventual return, showing how celebrity culture creates a kind of invincibility around stars even when they are in their lowest points, with his own mother, Carlissa Saffold, going as far as to promote a Blueface Homecoming Celebrity Bash celebration, reminding everyone that in her mind, his release is not just an end to his prison time, but a monumental cultural moment worthy of tickets, parties, and fanfare. A strange but very real clash of personal family love, commercial promotion, and the entertainment machine. While his longtime manager, Wack 100, quickly moved to assure everyone that the rapper's time behind bars might not be the full 4 years, clarifying that Blueface has already served around 440 days, which means with time served and good behavior credits, he could be out closer to 3 years instead of 4. And that is where the conversation becomes both fascinating and deeply frustrating, because Blueface is not just another rapper caught in the legal system, he is the embodiment of an artist whose rise was as explosive as his controversies, whose viral breakout Tatiana once had him leading Billboard charts and taking over social media feeds. Yet his legal battles, personal altercations, and violent incidents have increasingly overshadowed the music, with his 2021 assault case triggering probation that he later violated, ultimately landing him behind bars, and prior to that, his involvement in a 2022 Las Vegas nightclub incident where he accepted a plea deal for firearm and battery charges after shots were fired, pleading guilty, getting probation, and having the more serious allegations dropped, already painted the picture of an artist constantly skating on thin ice legally, testing the limits of leniency, and now finally paying the steep price. But what is most aggressive about this whole saga is not just the legal documents, not just the mugshots, not just the sentencing terms, but the way Blueface has continued to feed his fanbase music and energy despite being incarcerated, because his team is still releasing new tracks, maintaining his relevance, and fueling the narrative of a star who might be caged physically but refuses to be silenced musically. And this is where the contradiction of hip-hop culture becomes raw and unavoidable, where the audience simultaneously condemns and glorifies, where incarceration becomes both a punishment and a badge of authenticity, where the system punishes while the market rewards, because on one hand, you have a man serving time for breaking the law, facing the consequences of violence, probation violations, and reckless decisions. But on the other hand, you have fans, promoters, and even his own family framing his sentence as nothing more than an intermission before a triumphant return. And that duality forces us to question, what is the true cost of fame? What is the true meaning of accountability? And what does it say about us as a society that someone can be both celebrated and incarcerated at the exact same time? And yet that is exactly the narrative being built here, one where Blueface is being hardened physically and mentally in prison, presenting himself as tougher, more disciplined, and unbreakable, while his brand continues to push music, merch, and anticipation for his eventual comeback. And this dynamic is not new. Hip-hop has always been tied to stories of the streets, to brushes with the law, to survival against institutions. But the aggressiveness of Blueface's journey lies in just how transparent the cycle is, how predictable it has become. Because we all knew after the nightclub shooting plea, after the probation ruling, after the constant headlines of fights, arguments, and reckless behavior, that it was only a matter of time before something escalated to this level. And now that it has, the industry machine does not pause, it does not mourn, it simply recalibrates, shifting from tour promotion to prison updates, from music video hype to jailhouse physique analysis, from courtroom footage to Instagram captions, and the public laps it up, consuming it not as tragedy, but as entertainment, not as cautionary tale, but as saga. And Blueface himself is fully aware of that dynamic, leaning into it, controlling the narrative as much as possible from within the yard, building the myth of survival, toughness, and innovatability, because every time a fan comments, every time his mother announces a party, every time his manager updates the countdown, the message is reinforced. Blueface is not done. He will return, and when he does, the industry will once again profit. And whether you love him, hate him, or stand somewhere in between, that cycle continues. Aggressive, unapologetic, relentless. Because in the world of celebrity culture, especially in hip-hop, prison is not the end. It is often just another chapter. And for Blueface, the stakes are never higher, because his fans are waiting, his family is waiting, his critics are waiting, and the moment he steps out from behind those walls, every eye will be on him, every camera will be flashing, every outlet will be reporting, and the question will not just be what his next song sounds like, but whether he has truly changed, whether the stronger physique is just surface-level survival or a reflection of deeper discipline, whether the countdown is just hype or the beginning of redemption. Because at the end of the day, the aggressive truth is this: Blueface is living proof of how fame magnifies every flaw, how music culture blurs morality with marketability, how the legal system collides with celebrity privilege, and how audiences fuel the very stories they claim to criticize. And as long as he continues to breathe life into his brand, even behind bars, his saga will not fade. It will escalate, it will build, and it will explode once again the moment the gates open and Jonathan Porter, known to the world as Blueface, walks out to reclaim the stage, the spotlight, and the controversy that has followed him every step of the way.